The chair recognizes the honourable member for St. Barnabas.
Shot. 10 minutes. 5 minutes,
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, our democracy is alive and well. Democracy is alive and well, even though the member took some liberties and threw some low blows, but that's okay. You know? God knows he broke the code, man. I thought that Tuesday thing was something. Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I rise on behalf of the great people of St. Barnabas to offer my 5 cents, as they say, to the National Investments Funds Bill, Madam Speaker. I give Almighty God the honor and the gratitude for how He continues to keep me in my personal walk and indeed in my political walk, and allows me to continue to serve the people of St. Barnabas, the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, something that I take very seriously, just as other members do as well. Madam Deputy, before I get into...
Madam Deputy?
Madam Speaker, thank you. We're not perfect. Madam Speaker, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to acknowledge, Madam Speaker. I'd like to acknowledge, no, I'm good. I'd like to acknowledge my wife, Nia Penn Cartwright. We celebrated our first year anniversary yesterday. And, you know, my wife is from Burial Ground Corner, the Penns from Burial Ground Corner, right? And so, you know, yes, granddaughter, Simpson Penn's granddaughter, right? Yep, and so she had a little Saxon in her, but the Bible says you leave and you cleave. So now she's a valley for life. She's a valley for life. The Bible says that when you find a wife, you find a good thing. And Madam Speaker, I thank God for the good thing that He's given me. Madam Speaker, while I'm on my feet, I also, and the member for West End and Bimini talked about it yesterday. I had the honor to attend the retirement ceremonies, as you did, Madam Speaker, for His Grace Bishop Neil Ellis. And it was such a profound experience to see the outpouring of love and support for someone who transcends political lines, cultural lines, denominational lines, and the fact that he contributed and has contributed and continues to contribute to my life, the life of other members in here, and indeed thousands and hundreds of thousands of people across the length and breadth of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the region, and indeed the world. And there was something that he said, and myself and the member for Angliston, I know she wouldn't mind me saying this, talked about it very briefly, where he talked about one of his mentors, the late great Reverend Charles Sanders, who said to him, I'm paraphrasing here, if you're not impacting people's lives, you're wasting your time. And I believe that in this exercise here and what we do, and other members have been doing this longer than others, But we are truly all in this, I believe, for the same reason, and that is to make a difference in the lives of our constituents and indeed the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So you will never hear from this member to question the intention in terms of caring for the Bahamian people. Do we disagree on policy and how policy should be applied and different applications of what we believe should happen for our constituents and people across the Commonwealth of the Bahamas? Absolutely. But there is no doubt that we all want what's best for our people, and we all agree that this is the greatest country in the world, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Also, Madam Speaker, I think about 2 weeks ago, I had articulated on the floor on my feet reference to the role of women. The role of women, I hear used to be half of them. The role of women in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and the member from Angliston was not here, and the member from Angliston was not here. But now that she's here, I think it's very important for me to say, because Madam Speaker, you know, one of my twins, I have 20-year-old twins. 20-year-old twins who I'm not letting date till they're 40. I'm going to allow them to date till they're 40. But there's one of those twins in particular who has a soft spot for the member of Angliston. And because of that, I am duty-bound to make sure I do certain things, or else I'll be called out by my daughter. And so, again, I wish to congratulate truly and sincerely the Honourable Member for Angliston for now being the longest-serving woman elected in the Parliament of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. She is as gracious as she is fierce, and it's something that Bahamian women ought to take note of, as is the case with many of our contemporaries and other women like yourselves who's contributed mightily to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We can all agree on that, eh? Right? Thank you.
No about talk today.
Say no about talk today.
No about talk.
Madam Speaker, it is very amazing to me to hear some of the things I didn't hear this evening. And I jotted down a number of them just so that I can respond adequately. Because it seems we talk about selective memory. It seems that it only goes on one side. The Honourable Member talked about the government's commitment to the Family Island, or the Family Islands. Okay? But it was the Free National Movement that established local government in the Family Islands. It was the Free National Movement, lest we not forget. As a matter of fact, in 1992, when the Free National Movement came to power, it was the Free National Movement that electrified the Family Islands. Electrified the Family Islands. Electrified the Family Islands. It was the Free National Movement.
The chair recognizes the Honourable Member for West Grand and Bimini.
Madam Speaker, whilst the member for St. Barnabas is correct that the second phase of the local government from statute to the elected members was introduced by the Free National Movement in 1995-96, the electrification of the Family Islands was done by Shanendon, and you completed 2 islands when you came in. That's what you did.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
Madam Speaker, as I was saying again, the government seems to only want to choose one part of history. They talk about the minimum wage, and as the member conceded, after some inducement, it was the Free National Movement that established minimum wage. So where was the Progressive Liberal Party for 25 years on minimum wage? Now, we don't have to get into that discussion. The point I'm making is is that if we are going to make an assessment, make the assessment fair. All right? Okay. You also increase VAT on bread basket items.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Yamacraw.
Speaker, the member is misleading on this fact about minimum wage, and I think he's trying to distort the facts. The implementation of minimum wage that was about, I think at the time, $150 was there for decades before it was raised in 2017 by the Progressive Liberal Party, and then it wasn't raised again 2016 or 2016. I was sitting right here. It was implemented early 2017. And then again, it was adjusted just recently. So to distort the fact by saying that you implemented something decades ago, and especially at the rate that it wasn't a raise of any matter. This was the implementation that they would have done to set a bar. The government of the Free National Movement never raised it. They never gave the people a raise. Raises is an increase in salary. The increase in the minimum wage was only done by the Progressive Liberal Party, and that is fact, not to be distorted by any implementation of any sort. Thank you. You never raised in the minimum wage.
Thank you, honourable member.
2015. I stand corrected, Madam Speaker. 2015.
I don't get the point from the member of Yamacraw, because the Free National Movement established minimum wage. And the establishment of minimum wage in the country was historic for Bahamian workers.
Yes.
And not only that, the Free National Movement decreased the weekly, hourly work rate time for workers. It was 48 hours.
Friend of labor.
Right? Went down to 40. So don't come in here and only tell one side of the story. The truth is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has been built by the Progressive Liberal Party and the Free National Movement. And that is the truth. Right? That is the truth. The Progressive Liberal Party, see, let me share with the member how it's done. The Progressive Liberal Party established the National Insurance Plan, National Insurance Board, National Insurance Scheme Plan, right? The Progressive Liberal Party established that, right? That's fine, right? But some of the major increases for workers' benefits under the program happened under the Free National Movement. So we can get into this all day, Madam Speaker. Get into this all day. But they don't want to tell that part of the story.
Bring the people for that, man.
Yeah, we got to bring that part. Yeah, we got to bring the people for that. Madam Speaker, I hear the member talk about people policy.
Oh, come on.
So 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for West Grand Bahama and Benin.
Madam Speaker, we are beyond the 7 o'clock hour. I move that we continue beyond the 7 o'clock hour.
Is there a second?
Would you second?
I'll second this.
Thank you, honourable member. It is removed and seconded that the business of this House proceeds beyond the 7 p.m. hour. All those in favor shall remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is agreed. The business of this House will proceed beyond the 7 p.m. hour.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, when it came to maternity benefits for women, it was the Free National Movement. So let's tell the stories right. After you let's move to our chapter. You know, they like to skip between 19 and 2002. I get that.
It was labor. It wasn't yours. It was not yours.
So, Madam Speaker,
Never. It was labor.
honourable member talked about people policy, right? All this people policy.
Yeah.
But let's see what the people policy has gotten the Bahamian people, right? The people policy has given them a bunch of bad roads. The people roads. Let's talk about people policy.
Yeah.
I challenge any member in here right now to stand up and say the roads in your constituency are A1.
Stand up.
And A1. I challenge any member. I challenge any member. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, right? I challenge any member to stand up and say that the roads in their constituency are A-OK. I thought so. I thought so, Madam Speaker. I thought so. I thought so. And I would actually believe if Madam Speaker were not sitting in the chair and if she was sitting down here, she wouldn't stand up either. Right. Because with the pictures we've seen in Bamboo Town, Madam Speaker wouldn't have gotten up.
That's right.
So we talk about people policy. Fix the roads. The roads are horrible. The worst they've been in a long, long time. Fix the roads. People policy. Don't justify that, man. Fix the roads. And here's the thing, Madam Speaker. The roads are so bad. The roads are so bad. It forces persons to suppress their bias. You know why? It's that bad. It's that. As a matter of fact, secretly, Madam Speaker, I believe that some of them are glad I'm mentioning it because they don't want to have to mention it about their own member. Fix the roads. Fix the roads. The roads are horrible, right? People policy. I get into the bill the same amount of time that the other members on your side did. That's when I get into the bill. Right? That's when I get into the bill. Right? So, Madam Speaker, they talk about people policy. Increase in BPL, Madam Speaker. Increase in electricity costs. People's fees, electricity costs are doubling and will triple. Why? Why, Madam Speaker? Because of the government's decision to abandon a hedge strategy, because of the government's decision to delay. It's costing the Bahamian people more. Talk about people policy. That's people policy?
This is Marcos Illy's speech again.
Disgraceful.
Madam Speaker, people policy. People policy. Ask the people in Eleuthera if they feel like people policy is working when they had no water. Water to bathe their skin, like Mama would say. To bathe their skin and flush their toilets. That's people policy? Come on now.
Come on. Get into the
Right? They say people policy, Madam Speaker. People policy, they say. But they have put 100% tax on bread basket items. 100% tax. Making it more difficult for some people to get food, Madam Speaker.
You almost have drivers that buy you.
People policy? I thought so. Yeah. Madam Speaker, I'll say again for the record, I challenge any member in here of the opposite side to stand up and say that their roads are perfect and driving into your constituency is a nice smooth ride. They are creators, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Hold on, Madam Speaker. I hear them talking, Madam Speaker, but they ain't standing up and saying the road's good. They ain't standing up and saying the road's good. All right?
The chair recognizes the honourable member for Shanendon.
Speaker, I'm just curious as to whether or not St. Barnabas would like to give us the timeline as to when the roads were perfect.
Under the FNM.
When did that timeline? Could you give us that timeline? When the roads were perfect? When were the roads perfect in your constituency, St. Barnabas?
Madam Speaker.
And Madam Speaker, in addition to that, in addition to that, Madam Speaker, I also wish to indicate that we have started road paving work in Centerville, and as a matter of fact, Arundel Street is being graded today as we speak. But I would like to know the timeline for the perfect roads in this constituency.
Well, I see the honourable member, my fellow Valley boy, he made the distinction just now. He spoke for himself. He said Centerville. He didn't speak for the government, right? Now, speak for government. The truth is, we all know the roads are horrible. The roads are horrible. The worst that they've been. The worst that they've been. The worst that they've been. So instead of them coming at me, maybe they need to get together and figure out how they could fix all these potholes around here on the island of New Providence. Right? Teams out. Madam Speaker, the government was elected in September 16, 2021. It's now December 12th, right? 2022. No amount of excuses could justify the fact that our roads are in a horrible state. Holes, square holes, craters. It's horrible. And you want to know how competent a government is? Check how they deal with infrastructure. That's what the Bahamian people are saying. Can't keep the road paved? Come on now. And the taxpayers that the people are paying. And on top of that, road traffic just announced. Listen, Madam Speaker, I would say the members have a conscience and let me speak, because the truth is, I'm speaking the truth. The road traffic department, Madam Speaker, please protect me, please. Please protect me. Please protect me.
Members.
Please protect me. Thank you. Madam Speaker, what makes this situation with the water and the roads so unjust, so incredibly unjust, is the fact that this government is about to increase fees at the road traffic department. So already the taxpayers are paying money to get holes in roads and no water in the Lusra, but now you want to increase the fees on some other government service? That can't be right. And I don't think anybody would stand here and say that that is right. Tell your constituents here, man. The fee increase in road traffic, that's an important increase because you got smooth roads. You can't say that to them. I shared a quote some months ago that I learned in an organization. It says, excuses are tools of incompetence that build monuments of nothingness. So monuments of nothingness are being built, and definitely ain't no roads being built. So don't try that. If y'all want to be fair. But y'all ain't gonna be fair. Yeah. You remember that when you gave your contribution? Madam Speaker, people policy, well, the thing is there are 125 murders. 125 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. 125 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Madam Speaker, but yet they say people policy. Our communities, and here's the thing, Madam Speaker, crime is not a political issue. Crime is not a political issue. No, crime is not a political issue, but it does not mean that the government does not have a responsibility to lead on the matter. There's been no comprehensive plan on crime. I say again, in March, there were 22 murders, an historic number for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We're now at 125. The second largest amount of murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, right? No, nobody's gleeful. No, and I hear the member for Exuma, saying about being gleeful. No one is gleeful. The truth is that this is what governance requires. You don't get to choose all the good stuff and not accept responsibility for the bad stuff. It just don't work that way, Madam Speaker. On the deal in Grand Bahama, they said it was a renaissance. That's the word they use?
Yeah, renaissance.
Right?
Him particularly.
Right. People policy, it's about a renaissance. They said it's about a renaissance. As a matter of fact, I think the word they said, they're going to make Grand Bahama grand again.
Yeah.
They're going to make Grand Bahama grand again. But the truth is, Madam Speaker, what has happened is a grand failure. A grand failure, Madam Speaker. A grand failure. But yet, members are quick to get up, but they won't explain what happened to the deal. What happened to the deal? So, Madam Speaker, so far, Madam Speaker, honorable members, right? Madam Speaker, look at what people policy has gotten to people, right? Roads filled with holes, right? 125 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, high electricity bills, right? High food costs, unions that say that they bust in the unions. That's what people policy has gotten this government. Talk about the shanty towns, talk about people policy. Their own members complained about what's happening in Abaco. Their own members, North and South Abaco, complained about what's going on in Abaco. And the amazing thing is, they said some things out there to the media, and when they come in here, all of a sudden now it's crickets. It's crickets, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. Right? Even on the issue of no water in the Lusra, I was almost shocked. I was almost shocked, Madam Speaker. I was almost shocked when I saw, when all of us saw a letter on the Ministry of Agriculture letterhead from the honorable member from Central and South in Lutheran, criticizing his government, right? Criticizing his government, and he's a cabinet minister, criticizing his own government about the state of affairs. About the state of affairs. You want me to read it? About the state of affairs on the island of Eleuthera.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for Yamakura.
The rules police, the rules police.
While the commission is entertaining,
Yeah.
there is a rule, page 25, 8, that speaks of debate being relevant to the motion. I have to use it on the good member because we are waiting for, Madam Speaker, the hour is late. And while entertaining, the member must speak at least give 1 minute of his speech tonight on the debate at hand. And you know, it's gone on for 20 minutes on the roads. Please, Madam Speaker, relevance, please.
Thank you, honorable member.
It's amazing. You know, when we stand up on this side, we acting in the sitcoms, but when you all do it, oh, it's good. It's good policy. You know? It's the same episode. Yeah, well, you know, the reruns are the best. The reruns are the best. The reruns are the best. Reruns are the best. So, Madam Speaker, I heard the member for Centerville use an expression. The member from Centerville who's my good valley boy, and we can deal with them Saxons very soon, Honorable Centerville, member from Centerville. He used the expression, say tings, 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 and more things when he talked about for his people in Centerville. Tings, tings, and more things. Well, the Bahamian people are saying that this government, all they have under this government is bills, bills, and more bills. That's what the Bahamian people are saying, Madam Speaker, and they can't run from it and they can try. Madam Speaker, you know the people we're talking about. Madam Speaker, yeah, man, it's hot in here, man. You know, it's hot in here. So, Madam Speaker, yeah, absolutely. So, Madam Speaker, the government can try all they want. The government can try all they want. The truth is, there is a great disparity between what the government feel like they're doing for the people and what the people feel like the government is doing for them. $60 million in consultants, not $60 million in consultant services under this government. So you would think, hold on now. See, this is the kicker, and this is what the Bahamian people say. $60 million in consultants. So you would figure you hire consultants to help you with your various ministries, right? And that they would add to bringing some solutions and answers. $60 million, yet roads bust up, no answers to the roads. $60 million in consultants, but no water, consistent water in the Eleuthera. People can't bathe, can't flush the toilet. $60 million in consultants, but fees going up with road traffic. $60 million in consultants, but we had 125 murders in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. $60 million in consultants, putting aside that the Prime Minister has to travel, and we salute the Prime Minister for traveling. Travel costs has gone up with large delegations, but $60 million for consultants. $60 million. But they say people policy, Madam Speaker. Now to the bill, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
This is a very important bill. This is a very important bill. Madam Speaker, this is a very important bill. Madam Speaker, I'm trying to talk about the bill.
Members?
I'm trying to talk, thank you. This is a very important bill, Madam Speaker, and we support this bill. We support the government. We support the government on this issue. The issue of patronage and our patrimony is something that we continue, and we've had discussions about over the many, many decades, and how do we monetize, how do we ensure that our patronage stays intact for future generations of Bahamians. And, you know, It affects Bahamians in many different ways, this discussion about our patronage and so forth. You know, on a very, patrimony, sorry, thank you, a patrimony, even when it comes to the access, even Madam Speaker, you know, I think about, for example, and this is not directly yet, but even when we talk about the access, to beaches, for example, even when we talk about the access to beaches, you know, one time ago you could drive around this island. I don't know if y'all, drive around this island and easily access beaches on the island of New Providence and in the Family Islands. But now it's very, very difficult as people are hiding the easements and the legal entries. And some people have even put up fences and so forth. So we have to do a better job, Madam Speaker, of ensuring that Bahamians have access to our beaches. But of course, at a very macro level, this bill is so important for us to ensure that as we go along, the dreams and aspirations of the Bahamian people can exist in a robust way, because there is a mechanism such as this that will allow us to fuel the aspirations of our people and national agendas. I know the member for Garden Hills, who was a coach, who coached me a couple of times, and of course, as the Minister of Youth and Sports, can definitely appreciate this. For years, for decades, sporting teams, and even recently, sporting teams have had difficulties traveling. The issues with education, as I'm sure the member of Angliston can speak, and the lack of resources that's needed and so forth. John Canoe, there are so many things that will be a benefit of how this bill will operate. There are concerns, as has been mentioned by a number of members, about the role of the minister and so forth. But like anything in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, that is something that we have to be very, very aware of, Madam Speaker. But this is important legislation. And I just hope, Madam Speaker, that unlike a lot of bills, we do what we can. We do what we can to ensure that it truly works for the benefit of the Bahamian people, Madam Speaker, that it truly works for their benefit. From session to session, we pass these bills, but yet the Bahamian people don't get the true measure of what the initial intent was. Obviously, the Free National Movement would have been involved in a process with this piece of legislation, and we commend the government for doing what governments are supposed to do, and this is my point. The government is doing this, but yet they refuse to acknowledge that there's much more work to be done as it relates to ensuring that real people policies are taking effect in the population out there, because Bahamians are hurting. Bahamians are hurting in a real way, Madam Speaker. You know, Madam Speaker, as I get ready to take my seat, Madam Speaker, as I get ready to take my seat, I know you want me to sit down, but that's okay. As I take my seat, Madam Speaker, the truth is, if we want to be very objective and be very fair in our dialogue about politics in our country, the truth is, in the first 25 years of the Progressive Liberal Party, despite the many things that were done, incredible things, historic things that were done, there were some people and some persons who saw that as a very bad time for them. Members of the Progressive Liberal Party might not like to hear that. The point that I'm making, nobody spends. No, the point that I'm making is, the point that I'm making is, this is the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making, Madam Speaker, the point that I'm making is, right? No one is a bastion of self-righteousness and get everything right. That's the point. And a lot of times the honorable members opposite make it seem as though there has been nothing bad about what previous administration, yes, absolutely. And the only point that I'm making is, this is one country we have. We all have fallen short. We all know we all have fallen short. And both the Progressive Liberal Party and the Free National Movement have done their endeavor best to help transform the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We are better because of the contributions of both political parties. As much as the opposite side would try to denigrate this side, this member, for one, does not do that, okay, and acknowledge the contributions of whomever, whatever organization, because it does a disservice to generations of Bahamians if we make it seem as though the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has only been built by a group of people, one set of people, or an organization. That is my only point, Madam Speaker. This isn't about, Madam Speaker, this isn't about denigrating anybody or criticizing anybody of the past, Madam Speaker. We're just making the larger point. Because if it was up to them, you would think that the Free National Movement has not made a contribution to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So, Madam Speaker, as they talk about people policy, as I said, focus on the people who have to drive on these bad roads. Focus on the people who are out there, can't pay the light bill. Focus on the people who are going to have to continue to contend with higher food costs. Focus with the people who are dealing with the increases with the road traffic department. Madam Speaker, thank you very much, and I support this bill.